Hello, my name is Leo Matsuzaki, and I'm back playing Blooming Nightshade. We have done Izumi and Kiyomi's routes, and now we're gonna be doing Nanami's. Alright, let's go. Nanami texted me about needing help with some of her homework, and so I headed over to the library. I hoped I was able to help. I didn't really think it through when I offered to help her out. No. I sat down in the seat across from Nanami, which caused her to jump when she saw me. Sorry, did I surprise you? It's fine. I just didn't see you. So what did you need help with? Well, you see, my parents used to double check my math homework, so I'm nervous handing in math homework until someone else checks it now. I know it's childish, but... She trailed off, biting her lip. I decided to take the lead to keep her from getting too worked up. Let me take a look then. Thank you. She handed me her solution sheet, and I went down each problem and checked her work. My eyes started to glaze over halfway through, but I kept up for her sake. She had no faults, and everything was done exactly as the textbook expected. They look perfect. Really? Yeah, I've never seen someone get these all right on the first try. None of me seemed to miss that part, taking the sheet back and putting it in the folder. I'm so glad it all worked out. I get so worried I'll make a mistake that no one catches in time to save my grade. Did her parents get mad when she got bad grades or something? Thank you. I'll ask you again later, if that's okay. Oh yeah, that's fine with me. She gave a fragile-looking smile and then took her things and ran off. I'm glad I was able to help, but did she even really need my help? Probably not. I was looking for a place to sit in the dining hall when I heard a voice call out to me. Who's Kiku? Hey, Himeka, want to sit with us? I turned to see that Kiku and Nanami were at a table together. Curious, I walked over to join them. I'm not sure I've seen you two together often. This place was a bit full when Nanami came, so we ended up sitting together. It seems to have cleared out a bit since then. I guess I'm a bit late for dinner. Studying? Yeah. Nanami gave a weak smile. At least you'll be ready for tomorrow's classes. Nothing can really prepare me for classes. Kiku turned to Nanami. Anyway, tell me more about this recipe you were talking about. It sounded interesting. Oh, it's Polish, I think? I can't pronounce its name very well, though. What kind of food are you talking about? It's... let's see. Imagine a cookie, maybe. Except it's folded around a fruit jam filling. Kiku grinned as if she were imagining it right now. I'm interested in seeing what it looks like. Can you show me sometime? Sure. I think I can do that. It does sound interesting. Talking to these two about food made me feel like my actual dinner was subpar. Maybe I should consider trying something new. Sorry. Nanami texted to say she needed my help again, this time asking me to come to her room. When I knocked, I heard what sounded like a squeak of surprise. Just a minute. I heard frantic movement on the other side of the door, and Nanami opened it with a massive blush on her face. Come in. She let me inside, where I smelled some sort of food. Fresh cookies, maybe? I, made you some cookies. We had spare ingredients on my club. Oh, thanks. She presented me a plate of warm cookies, and I took 2 from it. So, what did you need help with? I want to make sure my history homework is right. I feel like she's just saying these things so that we can hang out with her. I looked over at her bed and saw a book poking out from under her pillow. Is it over? A sudden squeak silenced me, and Nanami pressed a book to my chest before running out to her bed. I'll get the assignment sheet. I think that's her diary? Maybe, probably her diary. I didn't get a good look at the book Nanami had under her pillow before she shoved it into a drawer and gave me her homework sheet. I forced the cookies into my mouth so I could hold the book in assignment. I started looking it over. As before, it was flawless work. I tried to figure out how to ask why Nanami was worried. Are you sure you need help? This all looks fine to me. My parents used to check everything before I turned it in. I guess I never grew out of it. She gave an awkward smile that faded into a frown. I was spoiled, so I don't know how to do it on my own. I get worried. I don't think you need to worry. This all looks great to me. I handed the assignment back to her. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Nanami bounced a bit in her seat with a massive smile. I'll try not to worry so much. But can we talk again? But we can talk again, right? Sure. Thank you. She gave me another few cookies as I left, which I thanked her for. I might not be hungry for dinner at this rate. Ah, it's so cute that she cooks for her. I was on my way back to my room after classes for the day when I found Nanami standing in the hallway. She was wearing an apron, she's not wearing an apron, as if she had been on her way to her club meeting. But she was clasping her hands over her chest and looking around worriedly. Is something wrong, Nanami? She jumped a bit at hearing me. Sighing, she looked up and gave a small nod. I'm trying to make Azuki's bean paste for my club, but no one in the club has any recipe for it handy. We might just look it up online, but the club president wanted to find someone who already knew how to make it. I'm afraid I've never had to make anything like that. Is there anyone that might know? Azuki beans generally seem to be part of traditional sweets, so maybe someone like Shiori would know how to work them. I think Kiyomi might also know something about basic recipes, though I can't be sure if she ever worked with Azuki beans. If all else failed, Nanami could talk to her classmate Atsuko. Maybe she'd be willing to help. Ooh, who would be the best to suggest? Oh no. Is there a way to quick save? Can I save here? Quick. Oh, there we go. Let me start. Oh look, I guess they did save. Okay. Would be the best to suggest. I'm not gonna say Kiyomi. And I don't know about Atsuko or Shiori. Azuki being phased. Let's go with Shiori. There's a third year named Shiori that looks like she might know something like this. I told Nanami about Shiori and how to meet up with her. Nanami nodded. Thank you. I'll try talking to her. Good luck. Nanami headed off. I hope things would go well for her. A few days later. While I was heading back to my room after class, I noticed that Nanami was hesitantly walking over to me. When she reached me, she held her hands in front of her as she took a deep breath. Is something wrong, Nanami? Well... Oh, God. She didn't really know how to make it, but she helped anyway. It was too much. Okay. Okay. I went to Shiori about the Azuki bean paste, like you suggested. She didn't really know how to make it, but she tried to help us anyway. I guess it was too much to expect Shiori knew how to make it then. Did things work out? We looked up a recipe online. Shiori, helped us out when we went to make it. I was surprised she was willing to help us, even though it wasn't her business. It sounds like she wanted to make up for her lack of knowledge. I'm glad things seemed to work out in the end. Nanami started to step away from me. Anyway, see you later. Okay, see you. She hurried off. Not sure how to respond. I decided to just go back to my room. Oh my god, my bad. Nanami called me to meet her at the cooking club's room, so I went to go check on her. When I got there, not only Nanami was still present, she was cleaning up a table and putting things away. There was some sort of bread laying out, looking freshly baked. I'm here. Nanami turned, noting my presence. Just a moment. Finishing up the cleaning, Nanami took off her apron and took the plate of bread. I, made some spare seed cakes for you. Seed cakes? They're an English recipe, I think. You'll try one, right? Sure. I took one of the cakes and put it in my mouth. It had a texture of kind of like walnut bread or some other kind of bread with nuts or such inside. This is pretty good. I'm surprised I've never had one that heard of it before. I'm glad you like it. To be honest. Nanami looked away, biting her lip. I don't know how to say this. She looked really worried. Is there something wrong? No, it's just... Will you go out with me? Oh my god. I can bake you treats like this all the time. Oh my god. Usually we're the one asking people out. I nearly copped on the last of my seed cake when she blurted that out. What do I even say to that? I don't see her that way. I'd like that. I don't know what to say. I guess I'd be okay with that. I wondered if my blush was red as Nanami's as she turned to face me. Thank you. I'm really thankful that you've put up with me. I want to make you happy too. Has Nanami not made a lot of friends? You're not as hard to be around as you make it sound. But I'm always being really selfish and spoiled. I don't really see that. You're being too hard on yourself. I'm not sure if Nanami accepted that observation because she instead pushed the plate of cakes towards me. Want more? Sure. We talked a bit about her baking, then I headed back to my room. I didn't expect to suddenly be asked out by such a cute underclassman. Once again, Nanami called me over to her club room after everyone else had left. This time, she was pouting as she slumped over a counter. A nasty smell hit me as I walked into the room. Did something get burnt? Nanami only nodded, not saying anything. You didn't get hurt, did you? Oh my god, she's angry. I walked near Nanami only for her to pull out her hair and growl. I did everything right. Why didn't it just work? I had to step back to avoid getting hit by her elbow. I felt my heart pump faster at seeing her so upset. Nanami, are you okay? Nanami slumped against the counter, sliding to the floor. She didn't even adjust her skirt when it slid up and revealed her pink panties. You got the wrong priorities here. I can't do anything on my own. Oh my god, okay, relax. Oh my god, stupid spoiled bitch. She was almost in tears now. I knelt down next to her. Nanami, it's okay. It was a mistake. But if I mess up like this, you won't like me anymore. That isn't true, Nanami. I placed a hand on her shoulder as gently as I could. I'm not going to break up with you because you messed up a recipe. You baked on your own before, right? And you succeeded. Yeah. And you're good with your schoolwork even without help, right? I guess. Then you can do things on your own. If you need help, you can ask people for it, but don't hate yourself if you can't do things on your own, okay? She didn't respond, but she seemed to understand what I meant. She probably was too embarrassed to admit she was wrong. How about I help you clean out the oven? We don't want it smelling like this tomorrow. Thank you. We ended up spending almost an hour cleaning up the clubroom. We didn't say much. Still, I think Nanami felt better when we left. Oh god, I'm scared. I was walking down the hallway when I saw Shiori, who was looking at each door number before moving on. Worried she might be lost or something, I went over to her. Looking for something? Shiori turned to me, nodding. I was going with someone from the cooking club, but I forgot to ask where it was. Oh, the cooking club? You're on the wrong floor. Really? I thought for sure I was getting close. How about you follow me? I'll show you where to find it. Shiori smiled and gave me a slight bow. Thank you. I'm going to be late at this rate. I showed Shiori where the club room was, telling her what the room number was as well as so she could find it again if she forgot my directions. Once we got there, Shiori bowed again. Thank you. I'll be sure to remember this time. Don't worry. It's hard to remember if you never knew in the first place. True. Shiori waved and went into the cooking club room. I wonder what she was going to talk about. I got a text from Nanami asking me to come to her room, so I went over to check on her. She was doing homework when I arrived, but she put it away when I got there. I made pastries I wanted you to try before, but I forgot to give them to you. Oh, excuse me. They weren't overcooked this time, so hopefully they're still good after a few days. I'm sure they'll be good, knowing you. I'm looking forward to trying them. Nanami smiled at me and stood up, unwrapping a plate that had been sealed with clear wrapper. I took a seat on Nanami's bed. I felt something hard and rectangular under me, and I had to shift around a bit. Looking down at where I had sat, I saw the outline of what I think was a book. Hey, Nanami, what is... I'll get it! Scurrying over, Nanami dug under the covers and slipped the book under her arm. Pressing the plate of pastries into my hand, she ran to her desk and put the book away. That is definitely her diary or something. Are you hiding that from me? I don't want anyone to know I had that sort of thing. She must have blurted it out without planning to, because she clapped her hands on her mouth and blushed hard. I'll try one of these pastries. Thank you. I took one of them and bit off a piece. A fruit jam gave the snack a lot of flavor. I like this one. What did you make it with? Let's see. She started rattling off the recipe, going over each ingredient step. I lost track partway through, but it looked like she was enjoying herself, so I let her keep talking. Try this one next. Okay, let's see how this one tastes. There were a lot more pastries that Nanami wanted me to try than I expected. Before long, I realized I had tested a whole place of snacks. By the time we finished, I was no longer hungry for dinner. I guess I'll just skip it for today. After class, one day I overheard a few girls in my class talking about a bake sale being run by the cooking club. I wonder why Nanami had never mentioned it to me. At any rate, I had better go. Even if I don't buy anything, I want to cheer Nanami on. When I got to the cooking club's room, I looked around for Nanami. It didn't take me long to find her, and I waved to get her attention. Himeka, why are you here? I wanted to see how you were doing with the bake sale. Why didn't you tell me about it? I don't want to make you pay for what I make. I guess I can see why she might think that way. You don't want me to buy what you made? I'd rather make it for you, especially for free. That's really sweet of her. I'll look forward to that then. Is there anything good that the others made? Maybe try these ones over here. Nanami showed me a few suggestions, and I bought a few snacks made by her clubmates. After saying goodbye to Nanami, I took my purchases back to my room. I was looking over some books to read at the library when I noticed that Nanami was sitting at a table in the corner. Heading over to her, I waved to get her attention. She looked up from her book that she was reading and smiled. Hey, Himeka, what are you here for? I was considering something to read to get my mind off homework. I haven't found too much so far. Oh my god, my bad. I'm so sorry. You have 2 books there. I sat down across from Nanami, setting down the books she had pointed at. Well, I'm not too sure about these yet. This one looks like it could be just a generic fantasy book, and the cover of this mystery book makes it look weird. Anyway, what are you reading? Nanami held up her book, and I glanced at the title to see that it was a cookbook. Looking up a recipe? Sort of. I'm actually more looking at the pictures right now. Some of these illustrations are creative. What do you mean? Nanami turned the book towards me, and I leaned in a bit to take a look at the recipe title, which had something to do with carrots. Wait, are those purple carrots? Look closer. Was that supposed to be a red celery stick? Do they even blend that way? Bend that way? I looked at the recipe title again. Sweetened carrot twist. Not only is it a strange recipe, but whoever drew the pictures has a strange idea of what food looks like. I hope this is a joke book. Nanami checked the front and back of the book, trying to find some indication that the authors knew what they had made. I hope so, too, but no idea. Please don't make me anything from that book. Nanami chuckled, nodding. I'm going to put this back. Want me to help you look for a book afterward? You don't have to, but if you'd like. It's fine. I'm not going to find anything of use in this book, so I have a little extra time now. She hurried off to put the strange cookbook away. By the time I had time to consider whether or not to accept her offer, she was back. Nanami led me over to the comics, where she suggested a few things for me. When I had picked something out, she squeezed my hand before saying goodbye. After she went to go look for a real cookbook, I checked out the book that Nanami had recommended and started heading back to my room. The title of the book I now held was Witch's Plague. I wonder what kind of comic Nanami had suggested for me. Ugh. Oh, this one again. I laid my head on my open books, feeling all the energy leave my body. You're going to tear the page out. Don't do that, Himeka. You're the only one who brought that book with us. I forced myself to sit up in my seat. My friends and I had gone to the library to study for final exams. Too much. There's too much to study. That's why we have the review sheets. It's still too much for me to remember. Why is there so much? If we cut this in half, maybe I'd survive it. Kiyomi sighed, fixing her glasses. You complain like this too much. You've passed every test. Mostly with C's or B's. Not everyone needs to have straight A's. She sort of has a point. You're also wasting time. You could be reading that book. I slumped in my seat, picking up the book and starting to look it over. I never want to see another triangle after this class. Screw triangles. Screw the triangles. It's language studies that I hate. When am I going to need to learn to know these dead letters? Kiyomi shook her head, pulling out a pair of headphones. Did you pick out studying music or something, Kiyomi? No, I'm canceling noise with my noise-canceling headphones. She put on the headphones and went back to her reading. Izumi and I figured out what she meant and looked at each other in defeat. So, we're the noise? I guess. I sighed deeply, passing the math book to Izumi. I'm gonna practice writing English. Maybe I can write about eating a banana or something. Izumi shut the book she was reading and took mine. What color would the banana be? Maybe red. Kiyomi rubbed her forehead, sighing. I can hear this idiocy even with the headphones. Go back to physics then, Kiyomi. I'm going to draw triangles while Himeka eats a red banana. What a bunch of stupid classes. I forced myself to get back to work. As much as I hated exams, I understood why these classes were important. Just why were triangles so complicated? I asked Nanami if I could watch her as she baked something. After I got her permission, I headed over to the club room. Excuse me? She seemed particularly into it when I got there, and only glanced up to give me a welcoming smile. Not wanting to mess with her flow, I stood nearby and watched her as she prepared the dough for cookies. As expected, she was very meticulous with her motions when making food, or did if she did everything the way she baked or did homework. Well, everything of that type. She wasn't as skilled with talking to people. Alright, that should do it. Nanami walked away from the oven, wiping something from her apron. It'll be about 15 to 20 minutes. You look pretty amazing when you're making food, Nanami. She blushed, clutching her hands in front of her chest.
I just want to make sure I don't make any mistakes.
I wondered if it was the stress of worrying about mistakes that ended up causing the mistakes she did make. As far as I can tell, you did well this time, and we have the timer set just in case you forget.
Yeah.
We sat together in silence as we waited for the cookies to bake. The silence felt weird, but I wasn't sure what to talk about. And when I was about to try to say something, the timer went off.
I'll get it.
Nanami seemed scared by the alarm, so her movements were jerky as she went to take out the cookies. After shaking them, she scooped them off the sheet and onto a plate. She presented the plate to me.
Here.
I took one hesitantly. You aren't going to try one first? Don't you want to know what it tastes like?
If you like them, I don't want to get in the way of you eating as much as you want. I made them all for you, after all.
I felt heat in my face as I swallowed. Died my embarrassment, I took a bite of the cookie. This is good. You should try one.
If you're sure.
Nanami took one from the plate and put it in her mouth.
You're right. This is better than usual. Maybe having someone to bake for makes them taste better.
I took another cookie, afraid of saying something embarrassing if I tried to respond too quickly. Glad I could help you then. Nanami giggled with joy. She took a seat next to me, and we shared the rest of the cookies. Maybe I should offer to help her out sometime. At any rate, I'm glad I'm going out with Nanami. I laid down on my bed exhausted. Today marked the end of the semester. I had finished my last exam just minutes ago. Starting another school gave us a few weeks off before the next semester began. Some girls were probably packing up to go home for New Year's, but most of them, like me, were going to be sticking around. That's just how boarding schools work, though. I got used to it, since I could talk to my family on the phone or on social networks anyway. It was kind of nice being away from home with no homework or classes to deal with. Even the closest town was only almost an hour away by bus. I was thinking about the winter break when I realized that Christmas was this week. I sat up wondering what I should do. Not everyone considered Christmas a big deal, but I liked it. My parents always gave me at least one or two presents each year. Aside from presents, I was told Christmas was a romantic holiday where you were supposed to spend Christmas Eve with someone you loved. I could maybe try to set up a Christmas party with my friends. We could go into town and buy presents, then do a gift exchange. Or should I try something else instead? I decided to call up Nanami and ask her to spend Christmas Eve with me. After telling her what my idea was, I waited for her response. Nanami?
I like that idea.
So, my room on Christmas Eve?
Okay.
I'll see you then. I had to take a few deep breaths after hanging up. I had a date for Christmas Eve. I tapped nervously on the book I had on my desk. Nanami was a bit late. I was starting to doubt my idea of a gift for her. An old cookbook I happened to have in my school supplies. That wasn't a thoughtful gift, more like giving away trash. A knock at my door made me jump, forcing me to forget about my worries for a moment. Hurrying to answer, Nanami smiled at me. As I led her into my room, in her hands was a small cake looking recently frosted.
Merry Christmas.
Did you bake this?
Yeah.
She frowned and looked away.
I actually was going to buy one, since it was so last minute, but they ran out of cakes at the dining hall, so I had to make my own. I hope it was worth being late.
I waved away her concern, hoping to bring the smile from earlier back. It's fine. I'm really happy that you went through the trouble. Nanami grinned, a light chuckle coming from her lips.
It's not a very fancy cake, but I hope you like it.
Well, I took a deep breath, knowing I'd blush from embarrassment the moment I finished saying this. You put a lot of love into it, right? I'm sure it will be fine.
Himeka.
She beamed at me. I felt my heart pound at how cute she was. Trying to change the subject, I went over to my desk and grabbed the cookbook. You don't have to take this if you don't want to, but I handed it to her. She put aside the cake to take a look at the book. It's an old cookbook that I bought during my first year. My parents thought it would be useful at boarding school, but I mostly have eaten from the dining hall. I don't know if any of it would be new to you, though. Nanami shook her head with a slight smile.
Maybe I can find something new to try out. I've been baking for you a lot lately. Maybe I could try something different. As long as it's something you eat, I'll at least try to make it.
I had to take a seat to avoid toppling from the surge of feelings that gave me. She was such a devoted girlfriend. I need to do more for her. I look forward to it. We sat down together to eat the cake. It was as simple as advertised, but it was fresh. At one point, Nanami lifted her fork to my mouth, sensing her intent. I reluctantly took a bite. While my face burned red, Nanami simply grinned to herself.
Maybe one day we can be a couple like in my books.
Your books? Nanami nodded.
I'm not ready to share them with you yet. They're not age appropriate.
So it wasn't her diary. It was one of those books.
But one day.
She trailed off without any sign, as she would have finished the thought. I blushed at the thought of what she might mean. I'll wait for that day then. If it was what I thought it was, Nanami had to be ready before she'd share any of that information with me. I don't want to rush her into talking about that sort of thing before she was ready.
Now, let's see what you have here.
Nanami opened up the cookbook, flipping through the pages.
I didn't know that ingredient went with noodles.
Which ingredient? As the night went on, we finished the cake and began poring over the rest of cookbook's recipes. I felt like tasting most, if not all, of those recipes was in my future. Well, as long as Nanami is the one cooking. Okay, that one was a lot more wholesome. No, fruitness. At the end. Okay. I was in the library to look for something to read in my free time, and I noticed Nanami looking through the DVD collections. I decided to go see what she was looking for. I walked over and whispered to her, "Hey, what are you up to?" Nanami looked at me, frowning.
I'm trying to find a movie to watch, but I'm not liking these options here.
She was holding 2 movies in her hands. I glanced over them, noting that both were listed as R15. These look pretty intense. How did you end up looking in this selection?
Well,
Nanami put the DVDs back, then turned to me again.
I feel like I'm a bit, how do I put it? Sheltered, I guess? Since I was spoiled by my family, I don't know certain things, or expect things that aren't realistic.
Yet, you're still great at schoolwork.
So I thought watching movies that only older people can watch will show me the kind of things that I need to know to be more mature.
That's not quite how it works, I think.
Nanami sighed, playing with her hands. What should I do then?
Honestly, I think you don't need to worry about trying to become more mature. I think you'll figure things out well enough on your own.
Really?
Yeah, you may have been sheltered or spoiled or whatever, but you're a better learner than you give yourself credit for. Nanami smiled, blushing a bit.
I'm happy to hear something like that from you.
I took her by the shoulder and led her away from the Art 15 movies.
Why don't we get a romance movie or something? Maybe something a little tamer. We can watch it together if you have time.
I have time. Oh. Oh my god, I just realized that it wasn't her saying it, was Himiko. I apologize for that. I'll reread it. Why don't we get a romance movie or something? Something a little tamer. We can watch it together if you have time.
I have time.
Naomi is almost bouncing with excitement as she looked through the shelves for something to watch. She was really cute, going from shelf to shelf looking for the right movie. I guess I underestimated how much she'd like to watch a movie with me. I'd originally planned to read a book, but I think I can skip a day of reading to spend time with Nanami. Excuse me.
Let's try this one. The guy is a famous sports star, but the girl doesn't like sports until she meets him. It sounds like it could be cute, and both of the leads are attractive.
Alright, let's check out the DVD and see for ourselves. Heading over to Nanami's room, we got ready to watch the movie. We sat against Nanami's bed, using pillows for support. As we sat up, Nanami brought out some pastries and handed them to me on a napkin.
I made these for you during my class club meeting.
Thank you. I really should repay you for this one day.
Don't worry about it. I like doing this for you.
Nanami is angelic when it comes to her baking. I'd ask for a lot more in return if I had her skills. We started the movie, both of us paying close attention. As the movie went on, the female lead became more and more interested in sports and her love interest, as we expected. What I didn't expect was Nanami's commentary.
Just a kiss, huh? That's not a lot, considering what they've been through so far.
What did you think would happen?
Maybe they could have made out?
As we continued the movie, I noticed that Nanami seemed disappointed by a lot of the romantic scenes, despite liking the rest of the movie. At the end, she shook her head at the big romantic conclusion, where the leads kissed for one last time.
Maybe it's just me, but it feels kind of wasted that they didn't do more. They're both really attractive actors. It'd be nice to at least be encouraged to imagine them in a bed together.
In bed together? My god, she is not as innocent as she claims. My god. I coughed on my surprise when I heard her say that. I hadn't expected that to have been the problem. Well, it's a family movie, so they couldn't suggest that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Nanami shrugged, looking at me.
Well, I liked it for a family romance movie, but I was hoping for a little more.
You want to see what? A love scene?
It'd probably be censored, but I'd like to at least think the lovers did something like that.
I think I get that. After all, one day Nanami and I might want to do more than just hug or kiss. I'll see if I can find a movie like that, then. Or something else, maybe.
Oh, you don't have to.
It's fine. Just think of it as a gift from your girlfriend. Nanami's eyes went wide and her cheeks went red. Then she smiled and nodded.
Okay, I like that idea.
She leaned in and kissed me. I gave her a kiss back. I will return this for you. Thanks for letting me watch it with you.
No, thank you. For all the things you've done today.
I chuckled, getting up to get the DVD. After I had everything I had brought, I said goodbye and left Nanami's room. I felt like I learned something new about Nanami today. It made me feel good. There's still a ways to go before we fully understand each other, but I hope we can keep learning things about each other like this. Okay, well, that was Nanami's route. Not more wholesome than the rest. But then again, at the end, you know, there's that suggestive theme a little bit. But super cute. Gotta love it. Okay. Thank you for watching. And next video, we'll be looking at Atsuko's route. Alright. Thanks for watching. Bye.